Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics. What kind of man are you anyway? I'm talking comics and you bring up chicks and romance?
All right, how are we doing? Let's make sure all of this layout is okay. All right, my mic looks good. The intro worked. My camera's coming in clear. All of our connections look good. I think we are ready for this week's episode of Foil Variant. Guys, how are you doing out there on this lovely Thursday evening? It is, it's that time of the week again for us to get together and have some intellectually honest comic book talk about the news of the week, the releases of the week. And guys, for this week, there is a lot. There's so much that I am kind of bummed that, as you can tell, I am running solo again this week. Yes, Andrew is still out hanging out with his lady love, Mary. So he will be back in town, back at his battle station on Saturday. So he will be back next week. We'll be back on our regular Foil Variant joint. Until then, you get a double dose of a Mav solo stream. So yes, guys, and of course, when it's only me, we already get everybody, giving us, or giving me smoke at least. We got Masta in the chat saying, oh yeah, 11 minutes late. And of course, we then had Punk going, that's nothing new. Look, I could have kicked the stream off earlier, but if I'd have started at 4:45 like I had it tagged on YouTube, I would have been peeing and you guys would have, opened up to this. I mean, my Marvel Spider-Man foil set, right? Like magic set is pretty cool to look at, but I think you might be tuning in to hang out with me. So this week, we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, if you guys caught the thumbnail, we have a brand new issue of Absolute Batman, which continues to just be the series, guys. Like, I'm going to continue gushing over this book as we go further into the night, but if you're a longtime viewer, you'll know that we love that show here, or that show. If you're a longtime viewer of the show, you'll know that Absolute Batman has been, at least for me, I can't stop fanboying over it. I know Andrew can't stop as well, but with me, every week, it's, oh my God, holy crap. So, as always, Nick Dragotta and Scott Snyder delivered this week. We also have the next entry the penultimate entry of Death Spiral over at Marvel, which, I don't know, guys, this is getting pretty dicey over here in terms of, is it a good story? Are we having fun yet? We've also got the end of Ultimate Wolverine, which kind of suffers from the same problem. And I can't believe it. We have the return of the young Jon Kent, right? The Mr. Oz abducted, taken to future Krypton by a still alive Jor-El, thanks to Dr. Manhattan. He's back. And the issue is really, really good, especially in what it all sets up. So Superman Unlimited, Dan Slott continues to deliver. We will dive into that as the night goes on. And but before we get into that, first I'm going to, go through our regular stuff. What am I trying to say? First, I need to take a drink of water because my mouth is super dry right now. All right. Second, before we kick everything off, before I even get to the chat, before we get to news and everything, let's run through a couple, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say big news updates, but let's say reminders of things. Yeah. Let's go over here to Zoom in, blow up that browser window. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. First things first, let's jump over here. Guys, reminder, we now have a Twitter account over at Foil Variant, or twitter.com, x.com/Foil Variant Show. Over there, Andrew and I are kind of treating this as an all-purpose comic book account. We're posting news updates. We are retweeting other creators, other pieces we really like. So rather than flooding your timelines with our own personal accounts, you can come hang out with us over at Foil Variant, where, yeah, we're tweeting all the time. Reminder, on our Twitter account, you can find the link to sign up for the giveaway we are currently running for Ripazine number 5. Now, for those who don't remember or who want a quick update, Ripazine number 5, that is where Andrew here debuted his brand new character, Blue Shift, completely original to him. He this Ripazine right here completely sold out, both the standard and the foil collector's edition. But luckily for you guys, we have 2 copies of each to give away. Look at that, beautiful. I don't know why that one's upside down. I messed that stack up. Let's see. All right, there we go, Andrew. I'll do you right. So, if you guys want to get your hands on a copy of Ripazine number 5, completely sold out. I think Andrew says that's the first time a Ripa production has been completely sold out, to the point where he didn't even have any copies to give away when he was at MegaCon recently. You can go over to our Twitter account, sign up right here. We've got tweets. It'll take you to a Google document where you can put in your email and your name. We will be drawing the winner next week on stream. We were going to do it this week, but Andrew is obviously not here. We're not going to give away his comic book without him being here, right? To that end, oh, I don't have the window open right now. Let me go grab it real quick. Speaking of Andrew and his speedster character, let's get over here. Over at Rippa right now, you can pre-order the first official issue, full-blown book by Andrew, featuring his character, Arcstream, right? Previously named Blue Shift, we went over this before. Sometimes things just happen, things fit better, you know. Such is the world of independent creation, right? So, Arcstream False Start number 1. This is the very debut issue, like full debut issue of Andrew's character. It's looking like it's going to be great, guys. I've seen a lot of the progress shots. Obviously, Andrew and I talk and share things all the time. Get in on this. If the demand that we see from all the Rippaverse fans translates to more sales here for Arcstream number 1, I can pretty much guarantee it's going to sell out. So you're going to want to get in on this. It is open for pre-order right now. Obviously, you guys can see here, reservations going until July 24th, with fulfillment starting on October 27th, which is its release date. Or I don't want to say fulfillment. I don't know how Rippa does their fulfillment, but it releases on October 27th, meaning you'll probably get it around that time. So that's what we've got for Andrew and ArcShift. The only other little news bit I want to remind you guys is that we have an Instagram account now as well, where we haven't really been using this much. This is something I'm still trying to play with, the format of how we want to use it. But so far, this first week, I'm trying out something new where on both our Twitter and our Instagram, I shared our pull list for the week, right? These are the books that Andrew and I are checking out. We obviously didn't, separate it between what is Andrew grabbing, what is Spencer grabbing, because that would just be too messy of a graphic. But we have a one sheet for what we are just generally pulling. And then we have a second sheet for the variants that we pulled this week, right? So go follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Instagram. Go sign up to win a copy of Ripazine number 5. And go pre-order your copy of Arcstream number 1 right now. All right, so announcements out of the way. Let's get to I'm going to turn to the chat real quick. I'll say hello to everybody. Basically, we have, Masta and Punk just giving me a lot of, just giving me a lot of smoke. Too bad. Masta says he won't stick around, but figured why not at the start. Hey, as always, guys, whether you hang out with us for the entire stream, whether you only hang out with us for 5 minutes in passing, whether you're checking us out for 10 seconds because we happen to come up on the YouTube algorithm for you, whether you are chatting actively throughout the entire streams, whether you are only a lurker, whether you watch live or in the VOD, we see you, we appreciate you, and it means the world to us that you give us any amount of your time, right? It shows that there is an audience out there for intellectually honest comic book talk, and as veteran comic book fans, I know me and Andrew, it warms the cockles of our hearts, if you will, right? Like, genuinely, to see more people wanting more quality from their comic book conversations and their news sources, right? So don't even trip about that. Always happy to have you. Yeah, it's true. This chair, I don't know, this chair's kind of beat, right? Because, like, it looks great. Oh, it looks so good. I broke the back a long time ago, so it's not as charismatic as we might hope. It's putting up a really strong facade there. Hey, we have Matt there. We got under Crouching Taylor, Hidden Swift. What's going on, friend? I feel like haven't seen you in a bit, but always a pleasure to have you around hanging out with us. Yep, we obviously have Punk here. What's going on? Hey, I didn't boomer anything up today. Everything so far is flowing without any sort of major hiccups, right? I think it's looking pretty good for us over here. Yeah, exactly. What is Blue Shift? I only know ArcStream. That's what I'm saying, guys. You can get this right here, and this is, you know, whoa, this isn't even real anymore, right? Like, this is a, what am I trying to say here? Like, I don't know, early production, it's a collector's item, is basically what I'm going for. You can list it on eBay and say, like, ArcStream original appearance or whatever, right? Which, yeah, it's happened before. I'm trying to think of, like, characters that have appeared with certain names and then gotten them changed. I can't think of any off the top of my head because, a lot, like, off, you know, put in the spotlight, I'm going to, like, Superman, Venom, Batman, which maybe they had, like, Batman had, like, a hyphen at one point, but it's not the same thing. So, yes, go get your copies of that. It's going to be really, really, really damn cool. Like, I've seen it. Am I saying Arc Shift? Or, like, is it ArcStream? I don't know. I keep mixing it up. You guys know me. I guess, we're word boomering it up right now. Let's see. Corey! Dude, what is going on, brother? Have not seen you in a while. Haven't heard from you in a while. I know, Andrew's obviously been taking a break from the community streams, and you've also been out and about, you know, hitting con scenes and hanging out with people. And our schedule's been a little wonky over here too, especially in terms of having it, you know, starting the streams a little later these last few weeks, having one on a Saturday. So always a pleasure to see you, my man. Do you have your ArcStream pre-order in already? Whoa, Timon, a long time no see. I know you've been really busy lately. What's going on, brother? Always a pleasure to see you. It feels weird, guys. I feel like ever since we had that, like, back-to-back series of, like, 1 week we're on, 1 week we're off, 1 week we're on, 1 week we're off, right? I feel like so disconnected from you guys. I feel like I haven't seen all of you, even though I talk to you guys all the time in the Kabuto Studios foil variant Discord server, which you guys can all find a link to down below in the description. Look at that. That was so natural. Thanks for setting me up for that, brother. Let's see. Punk says, Jessica Jones' Alias has been great so far. So that's the new Red Band series, right? That is coming out of Marvel. I think it's by Bendis, and I think it's either David Mack or Alex Maleev, one of those original guys who was the artist for the original Jones run, the original Alias run. And I've been hearing it's good, right? Like, I've definitely heard positive things about that series. I'm kind of just waiting for it to finish because it's only going to be a mini, and we know how Marvel does it these days, you know, 5 and done, 5 and done, 5 and done. So I'm glad to hear it is a genuinely good series because Jessica deserves the love, especially with the fact that the Defenders are coming back to the MCU. So in case you guys didn't see, this was like last week, I think. It's genuinely so funny. Here, I believe I shared it in Andrew's server. It's like one of the last things I shared. So last week there were paparazzi hanging around the general set of Daredevil Born Again, right? Which is currently filming, I believe, season 3. Yes. So Yeah, because season 2 should be wrapped. I don't think this is the conclusion to 2. I think this is 3. So obviously, when these shows are in production, you have a lot of either paparazzi photos or set photos from people who are like, oh, I live on this block and they're shooting it right below me, right? So last week we were starting to get some pictures coming out of like, oh man, there's Jessica and there's Matt, and it looks like Luke and somebody else is. Could this be the Defenders? This is crazy. And then, like, later that same day, Getty Images, which for those of you guys, for those who don't know, in America, Getty Images is like the big official, like, photography service, I get. Like, it's where you get your official photos and you license them out for news articles or whatnot, right? Like, we've all seen that Getty Images watermark. Well, literally later that day, that same day, Getty Images just straight up released a bunch of set photos where they caught Luke and Danny, like what's his name? Mike Coulter and Finn Jones, like on set in costume. Luke looks like he is wearing his Mayor Cage outfit, which is the current status quo of Luke Cage, where he is the mayor of New York City. Or yeah, he's mayor right now. He took over after Kingpin, so he might be challenging Kingpin to his mayoral race. I don't entirely know. I'm not caught up on Born Again season 2 yet. I just started it because I like to have a little buffer built up. But I am excited beyond. Like, look, I know the MCU is pretty cooked right now. I'm still excited that this happens. Like we get the Defenders back. I genuinely, after the Netflix collapse and the post Infinity War Endgame collapse, I was like, we're never seeing these guys again. Oh my gosh, why am I in the dual one? I need to be on the solo one because Andrew's not here. All right, there we go. So I'm just genuinely happy to see them because I loved pretty much all of that Marvel Netflix stuff. I think the only seasons I didn't really like were season 3 of Jessica Jones. Just felt a little rudderless, directionless. And then everything post the defeat of Diamondback in Luke Cage kind of felt the same. It wasn't bad per se. It's just like I kind of tuned in for a more street level-y show, and now we're going way more MCU-y, and it kind of lost its focus. So I'm at least happy to see them coming back. And yeah, right? Like Team Jessica Jones. I love her show, man. That first season of Jessica Jones is genuinely good television and a good, or like I should reverse that. It's genuinely good Marvel television and just a good show on its own. Like if you went up to somebody and you went, hey, you like gritty sort of, psychological dramas with a supernatural, superhero, superpowered edge, check this out. And maybe not even superpowered, but just like the word that's coming to my mind is like paranormal, because there's so many shows that are like psych, which is okay, he's faking his psychic powers, but there's like medium or touched by an angel and all that stuff where it is the detective gets their stuff from the occult or whatever. But this is more just like, did you like Heroes? Did you like Arrow? Check this out. So yeah, very, very happy that we'll at least see them one more time. I know, Punk, I'm really, really surprised that we haven't seen anything Elektra. Like, in the sense that nobody mentions her in the MCU. Like, not even Matt or anybody. There's no mention of her. The actress is, like, not even involved in things. Or, like, she's still an actress, but she's not involved with the fandom, right? She's not retweeting Born Again, oh, the new season is out, I'm so proud of everybody. She's kind of like, all right, that job is done, I'm on to my other jobs. And I don't get it. And I think part of this might be, Punk, might be this idea that bringing back Elektra and doing the whole Frank Miller Elektra story with Daredevil, that's a big bullet. You don't just fire that out randomly, right? Like that's sort of, if I'm thinking as like a TV executive, that's the sort of thing I hold on to for the season after ratings start falling, or for the finale to the show, right? Because that is a big, important storyline that people are going to be really locked into. And if you can do it really, really well, it'll pop off. But if you can't, it's going to feel a little wonky. So, with that mentioned, and I'm really glad we got to talk about this because I wanted to bring up this is kind of relevant to this big news. Now, I don't know, let's see. Who broke it first? I believe yeah, let's go to Variety. Why not? So, in case you guys didn't see the news, so I'm jumping from the Defenders and the MCU to say I'm happy to see that they're coming back. Unfortunately, I'm really sad because this feels like it's going to be one of those things where it's like, cool thing that immediately is wasted because everything else is kind of over, right? Sort of think Thunderbolts, which was a really, really good movie, and we all generally liked it. Like, even the most exhausted MCU fans were like, all right, that was pretty cool. Or, like, not cool, but, like, that was really fun. That was enjoyable. I had a good time at that movie. The Sentry was cool, sure. But nobody had more faith. Everybody was like, that was a blip, and it kind of sucks because we know it's not really going to go up from here. And that's what I feel right now with this Defenders reveal, because in case you guys didn't see yesterday, or what is this? Today's Thursday, Tuesday. Disney announced, as we can see here, reported by Variety, Deadline, pretty much everybody, they're laying off 1,000 employees. And they are mostly coming from the, where is it? Yeah. The cuts will span the marketing functions across the Disney Studios, TV networks, ESPN, product and technology, and corporate groups. This is basically, you know, a blanket term for we are kind of hitting the production staff and the ancillary staff. So we got the big announcement after this that one of their giant moves is Disney has eliminated the Marvel special effects team, or like the dedicated Marvel, maybe not eliminated, but they've severely reduced it. They say that it is because of, they say that this is part of their like, oh, we're winding down all that production because we got too overzealous with the MCU's popularity. I think, you know, that excuse doesn't really fly right with me. I don't know what the real excuse might be. I'll get into that in a second. But, like, why didn't you do that then when you previously announced, like, a year, 2 years ago, Bob Iger announced, like, yeah, we got to scale everything back. Things are getting a little ridiculous. That's where Thunderbolts came from, right? Was out of that momentum shift. Why didn't you do it then? Why did you have to do it when Doomsday is about to come out? Like, that's all about to wrap? Doomsday, Secret Wars. I don't even think they've started Secret Wars yet. So I know a lot of people have been going like, oh, this is them pushing to get into like AI generating all their stuff. I don't think it's that. Right now we're seeing the stupid AI bubble getting, it's basically pop, but nobody wants to admit it yet. We're in that, you know, Emperor has no clothes. So I don't think, and especially with Sora and OpenAI having canceled that contract with Disney, I just don't think that's what's happening. This feels more recession-y, right? I'm not going to get into it here because this isn't the point of the channel, but we all know that at least in America right now, the economy, like the economic conditions are pretty shitty, even though nobody wants to admit it because our government is full of idiots who think they can just keep, you know, ignoring the problem and passing the buck down the road until everything works out. But with all that, like, I can see it's bad times in America economically. So I think that's where the cuts are related. Where this all relates to our conversation, aside from the, you know, that's what makes me worried about the MCU's future, is even if we get something cool here with Born Again Season 3, are you guys still dedicating the same level of commitment, of resources, which, yes, we can all agree they went a little overboard with, but this is in the time-honored American tradition of overcorrecting everything. It feels like an overcorrection. And with Kevin Feige's reign as, like, you know, the herald of the MCU and his big Marvel Studios position, his tenure is coming to an end. And this MCU saga, I don't know what you want to call this entire shebang, but Secret Wars is supposed to reboot things or soft reboot things. So it's a lot of what is coming. Like, it's just uncertainty in terms of that. So it's like, happy to see you guys. I'm not going to, reserve my tickets for the 2027 season or whatever however you want to frame it, right? It's a bad analogy, but I think everybody can follow me there. Now, to our kind of conversations here, I did want to bring this up in a comic book sense because Marvel Comics also got hit with some layoffs. Primarily, we got hit with editorial layoffs. And unfortunately, everybody, before you get your hopes up, it's not, Nick Lowe is still here. Tom Brevoort's still here. A lot of the leadership that has gotten Marvel into the position it's in, which is, it's bad at Marvel right now. We've talked a lot about, the fact here on Foil Variant that with the Absolute Universe, and especially over the course of 2025 with the release of the DC Compact editions, DC has like blown Marvel out of the water. And so it used to be sort of this understood industry standard that Marvel Comics will always have a better market share per month than DC. For whatever reason it is, whether it happens to be people just really love Spider-Man, or it's the ground level relatability of it, whatever it happens to be, that's sort of always been like an unspoken rule, sort of along the lines of, you don't bring back Bucky, you don't bring back Uncle Ben, which they've already broken those rules. I'm just going off on a tangent there. So, I don't even, wow. Let's see. So with everything going on, let me reframe that. Sorry, taking that drink of water really threw off my train of thought there for a second. With this Marvel market share fact in mind, right? It should be noted that the only time DC has ever overtaken Marvel, aside from right now with Absolute, was the New 52. And that was only for like 6 months, right? Like it did not last that long. Everybody kind of got over it. So for DC to be so decidedly at the top of the game, even with it's bad, right? Like that is a significant status quo shift for Marvel. So one of the big firings we got was their SVP of their senior vice president, print, sales, and marketing, David Gabriel. Now, he's been there for a while, and he's been there for like 23 years. So he's overseen some good stuff, but he's also been sort of, responsible for a lot of the editorial decisions of where we are. So things like Marvel's over-reliance in recent years on variant covers, that came from him. This trend we have right now that Andrew and I always complain about of Marvel doing like 5 issues for a miniseries and then rebooting it. Really good example, Scarlet Witch. The Steve Orlando Scarlet Witch series has spanned like 5 titles because Gabriel over here got it in his head that that's how you sell books. You give readers, 5 issues and they can jump off and they can jump in or what have you. And it didn't really translate. I think we talked a little bit a couple weeks back about how there was a report that came out where there was a Magic series that was being written, like Magic's first ever like true solo. And that ended after 5 issues. And then they launched the series called Magic and Colossus, which is in that Steve Orlando fashion. It's the same narrative, same story, still going. Marvel just thinks that if you throw in a new number 1 and say it's a new jump in spot, people are going to rush to it. Well, they didn't. They jumped off instead. And when people see like, oh, Magic's over, that sucks. There's no kind of like guide or understanding that you got to go to the next book with that character on it, right? So it's things like that. And what else was it? Like there's a line from Marvel called like the Marvel Essentials line, which is it was giant sort of like omnibus sized collections of classic comic books, but they were printed on like black and white newspaper print, which made them super cheap, super poor. Like they were great. That's how I read a lot of the classic stuff when I was growing up. And he's like, "What's the point of this? This is dumb. I don't want it." So he is out along with confirmed right now 4 others, right? So we have the executive director of communications at Marvel Studios, the, TV movie stuff, Timothy Chang. We have senior editor at Marvel Entertainment, so that'll be the comics, Lauren Bysum, who worked on things like Marvel Zombies and the Kids line, and she's fine. She's kind of just been like those series they mentioned right there, the Marvel Kids line, the Marvel Zombies, Strange Tales. They were kind of just there. They never really made any moves. The Marvel Zombies line, I could go into like a 4-hour rant on that thing, because that thing has what do you call it? Like crumbled and rotted as hard as its cast, right? So Lauren Bysum's out. We also had Devin Lewis, an editor whose recent work include Moon Knight, Daredevil, 1776, and Spirits of Violence. Oh, and the recent Punisher series. Of those, I've only read Spirits of Violence, which was a Ghost Rider focused series. I really liked it. That one feels like a little that feels like you're cutting where you can to save money, and it's like it feels a little unfair there to Devin Lewis. And then we had Darren Shan, another editor who over his 10 years at Marvel, he worked on mostly X-Men books, including things like X-Men 97, the new Cyclops series, Magic and Colossus, like I was talking about, the recent Psylocke series, a lot of the Age of Revelation stuff. And that one, this firing kind of makes sense to me. Like, even if we weren't talking economic recession, X-Line's been pretty bad lately. And I know that's mostly Tom Brevoort's fault because he's the one in charge. Still, just like not been great. That Age of Revelation event was seriously nothing. There was no point to it. I hated it. Like I told Andrew all the time. I was like, why does this exist? Why are we cutting out all of the, like, why are we just cutting off all of our books in the middle of like a storyline to tell this weird like alt universe? It's dumb. Don't waste your time on it. Really nothing came of it. So there are changes happening. It's unfortunate that it seems like Marvel, that's what tells me this is not necessarily like a talent or quality like motivated layoff, because none of these guys, for as bad as like the X line has been, it has not been the Spider line. It has not been, whatever the hell is happening to the end of the Ultimate line here, right? Like there are people who really deserve to be on the chopping block over people who are just your editors, right? So yeah, Punk says, I'm very curious to see what happens to DC and the DCEU if the merger goes through. I hope that, we'll see. I'm not optimistic if that, who is it? It's Warner Brothers and Paramount. First off, don't trust anybody at this point, like individual politician, business leader who still so willingly and so happily deep throats the Trump administration and their everything, right? Like they're destroying America. The country's fucked, but they still go, oh yeah, I get 5 more % shareholder value, whatever the fuck. That combined with the fact that like there just really doesn't seem to be any attention from Paramount to DC. All they've said, here are the 2 things we've heard about DC amidst all this merger news, which is DC Studios will continue, and in an executive who was in one of these meetings came out and was like, oh yeah, the David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount's really interested in DC. He said in the meetings, he name dropped DC 3 times saying, I love DC. And Andrew and I think we talked a couple weeks ago, we were like, that doesn't mean anything. That's just saying bullshit. So that's a DC, that's a little off topic of the Marvel layoffs. But all in all, this is kind of representative of we're in a really dog shit state here when it comes to the companies in charge of our media. So buckle up and, support what's good when you can. Criticize what you don't support what's bad when you're able to. And, be open to checking out things like manga or independent creators. Go get Arcstream. Go pre-order that, right? So big changes happening over there at Marvel. What else? Oh, so before we jump into this week's books, I just wanted to cover three more pieces of news really quick. The first would be, oh, where did I put it up? Where is it here? Where is it? Marvel Twitter. Yeah, just go to Marvel Twitter. That'll help me, and then we'll go to search that. Oh wait, I know what to do. I can just go to the foil variant Twitter account because I was bitching about this over here. Let's see, where is it? All right. Earlier this week as well, I just wanted to laugh about this. This is more comic book related news. Yeah, so I got it over here. As you can see, earlier this week, Marvel announced the next X event, which is it's DNX, which will see the X-Men and Fantastic Four join forces to stop the X virus from mutating mankind. Kind of a continuation of the stuff we've been seeing develop in McKay's X-Men and the Age of Revelation event. First of all, who cares, right? Like I read that premise and I go, we literally just did Age of Revelation. That's what this all was. But then I go to here, where they explain the premise as, while the X-Men seek out the Fantastic Four for help, Beast, who I've noted this before, right now Beast is back and he's evil, begins his plan to unleash the X virus in a major population area, forcibly and horribly transforming humans into mutants. If that sounds familiar, that's because that's exactly what we did 13 years ago with the Inhumans versus X-Men. In Infinity #3 right here, the big Hickman event, right? They released the Terrigen bomb in the middle of, just on Earth, to forcibly change all of the Inhumans because they knew that Thanos' son was there and he would be exposed and blah, 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 blah. But this is kind of, I saw this and I just went, as Andrew and I do, what are we doing here? This is like the 9th event that Marvel is just retreading. Inferno, Civil War 2, Acts of Vengeance. What else have we seen? We've seen a zillion spin-offs of, the Infinity Wars and such. What was it that we just went? Age of Revelation is a callback to Age of Apocalypse. I don't understand why Marvel cannot have an original event idea. It's so weird, right? Because I look over at DC, and even though things like DCKO or Dark Crisis were busts, and we're just like, why did we do any of this? Or We Are Tomorrow from, what was it? World's Finest and Justice League Unlimited. At least they're doing something, right? Of course, they're retreading some stuff because that's how comic books work, especially when you're going endlessly over 80 years. But they're not doing, okay, well, they kind of are. Hush 2 is an example of this, right? They didn't need to do Hush 2. Nobody was asking for a Hush 2. But because that was a good selling series and people remember it, let's highlight a Hush 2 to cash in. And it just feels so cynical. I would be okay if you were tagging one of these events, right? And you were sort of like homaging it or building on it or something. But if you're just doing the exact same shit, it gets really hard. This is where I start feeling torn between, like, am I a fan of comic books and I feel torn because I just want to see my characters? Or am I a crack addict who just goes, like, I'm such a hyper mega dork about this stuff that I go, I need to know continuity at all costs. I need to know canon at all costs. And so I guess I'll keep you guys updated. Oh, and of course, X-Men and Fantastic Four teaming up. Blatant attempt to push marketing for the MCU and the eventual X X-Men MCU team up that's coming in Doomsday. So that is one thing I wanted to criticize. Just like, why? What are we doing here? As I said. And then, did Marvel have it as well on their account? Let me make sure. They would have just posted it. Yes. So, Queen in Black. We know that this event is building. Andrew and I have talked about it before. It's been building in the pages of All New Venom, Web of Venom, just all that stuff, right? The Null series. Obviously, it is coming to a head with a proper Queen in Black like mini-series later this year. It's kind of looking to gear up to be kind of fun. I forget. Let me see if I can find the preview pages here really quick. Oh, I should follow Marvel while I'm at it. Boop, 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 boop. Because I know I sent them to Andrew earlier this week. I guess I can't. I guess I don't have it up here. There's like, do you see how on the side here there's like 4 different Marvel accounts? It's probably not even all of them. So like if I go to like show more, oh, now I'm just like jumping around places. Yeah, you got Marvel Support, Marvel Studios, Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Games, and it's just like one of you guys posted it. I know that. Hey, look, I saw Gail Simone. Let's follow Gail Simone. We like Gail Simone around here. And yeah, it's all we really, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. You're not here to watch me do social media. But so Queen in Black, Hela versus Null for control of the Void, for control of Death, for control of the symbiotes, or the Clintar, if you want to be like Andrew and use the proper name. They announced the series, and as always, they're going to have variant covers. That's what they do. So they announced, first, there's going to be this little promotion where some comic book stores are going to get this Venom World of Bouncers, which is really just like a bouncy ball, like a Venom bouncy ball. Nothing super like insane, but I'm not gonna lie, guys, like I kind of like these types of promotions. It reminds me of back when the War of Light was going on over at DC, and when you picked up like various issues, comic book shops got in these super cheap like costume, like less than costume jewelry ring like replicas, right? Almost like they 3D printed them way before 3D printing existed. And it was fun. Like, it was still cool to go collect those and be like, oh, I have all of them, and recreate, the Hal Jordan cover and stuff. So these types of promos aren't super valuable or like that particularly like, whoa, what a product. But they're fun. And remember, that's kind of the differentiator here when we're talking about things like comic books. You want things to be fun. Unfortunately, that is where the fun for me and Andrew end when it comes to Al Ewing and our boy Ebon's next symbiote rodeo, because unfortunately, they're doing the blind bag bullshit with this series. We've seen it ever since, was it 2020? Was it last year or the year before? Battle Beast, #1, Invincible Universe. Skybound kicked this entire trend off because they did it for Battle Beast, and essentially it is what it is on the tin. We have blind bags now where you can open them and get exclusive covers. And some of the system has worked, some of it hasn't. Andrew and I talk about this all the time, but for a quick recap of kind of where like foil variant stands on that, we're generally really against this blind bag gotcha bullshit, right? Shouldn't have to gamble for special covers or foil variants or whatnot. I remember, let's see if I can pull that one up real easy. On Ultimate Endgame, the first issue of it, they did the blind bag thing. And for the series, come on, let me pull up an image here. Come on, work with me. So, that'll work. We'll just go to, what comic book shop is this? Okanagan? Sports Cards and Comics. But here was this amazing variant, right? For Ultimate Endgame #1. I lost my mind about it when they revealed it because it's Peach Momoko. It's May Storm, who I love from her Ultimate X-Men series. It's the Maker, who might be my favorite comic book villain. And it's like body horror. It all works. This is how you sell a cover to Mav. So they released this normal one for a regular sale. There's a foil variant version of it only available in the blind bags. Now, that's like what pisses, like, I should just be able to buy that. Some, how do I, like, where am I? Now I just, like, got angry and, like, wrapped myself up. But, you know, sometimes blind bags do it right, where it's like, I regularly, I don't know if I've actually spoken about it on this show, maybe like last year when I saw them, but last year at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, who was it? IDW had blind bag, like exclusive, like convention exclusive blind bags for their new Godzilla #1. If you bought that blind bag, however, it was a very select pool of exclusive covers. You could only get those ones in that blind bag, and you were guaranteed to get one of those exclusives, whatever it was, when you opened it. I'm okay with that one. I still don't like the idea of blind bag things, but that works because you're at least guaranteed to get something. And I do like, Marvel did a fun thing for Ultimate Endgame, and they're doing it again for certain series. I know they did it for Daredevil #1 last week, but they'll have like artists like Mark Bagley or Peach or Ryan Stegman, Phil Noto, whomever have you, right? Do headshot illustrations of a various character, completely original work, and throw it in a blind bag. And I think that's kind of a cool distribution thing. What's not cool is what Marvel specifically does, which is covers A, B, C, D, like the standard ones. This regular Peach one that we're looking at right here, this is something you can pull in a blind bag. That to me is predatory, and that's bullshit, because you're basically going, gamble on us, and oh hey, you got the same thing you would have gotten, and it's just like, that's not fun. That's not fun for anybody here, right? Like, imagine if you were, for my fellow TCG players out there, imagine you got a new Pokemon set that came out, or a new Magic set, and they were like, oh, here's these 5 cards are, you know, in the brand new set, and they're super important. You're all going to want to use them for your decks. However, we're only releasing them in it's like collector boosters in Magic, where you go, oh, we're hiding all the special shiny foil versions of these select cards in collector's boosters, but you might also just pull regular bullshit. And I don't know. That never sits right with me. So with that, the reason I wanted to talk about King in Black specifically is David Nakayama here is, you know, our boy DNA. He's got this incredible MJ symbiote bikini variant exclusive to the damn blind bags. If I want this cover at all, or Andrew wants this cover, we have to go and buy blind bags and fucking hope for the best. And it just doesn't sit right to me. It makes me angry. It's fun, I guess, if you've got a YouTube channel and a bunch of, you know, viewers and a bunch of money to spend on it, and it's fun for you all to look. But as a little guy still coming up in the game, doesn't jive with us yet. And if we ever do that, guys, please just like kick our asses, or at least kick my ass, right? Andrew probably isn't watching right now and isn't hearing my editorial decisions. But if we ever do like we're gonna pull a 75 blind bag cover thing, kick our asses. We might still do it, but we deserve an ass kicking for it. All right. Last piece of news before we finally move into the comics for the week. I just wanted to, this is sort of a slight downer one, but I think it is important for us to just recognize, just bring up, Adam Hughes. We all know and love Adam Hughes as an artist. He's produced some of the best, cheesecake art over at Marvel. Off of recent memory, I know he did like the cover to the Marvel Swimsuit Edition. I mean, it's Adam Hughes. Why am I explaining? He's been doing all the Black Cat covers, right? Because it's Adam Hughes. He has officially, at 58 years old, been diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. Now, his family announced it. It is yes, it's stage 3, and that's bad. It is still beatable. It is still treatable. It's not a pure death sentence. It's just really like, oh crap. So it's really, I hate these moments because I wish there was something more we could do as a community, as anybody, as humans, to help somebody who has, contributed so much to art, to comic books, to something we love out here. Unfortunately, all we can really do is, send him your prayers if you're religious, send him your, Genki Dama fighting spirit energy if you're not. And let's just hope Adam Hughes continues producing, or, fuck that. Fuck what I was just about to say. I don't care if Adam Hughes keeps, drawing after this. I just want him to be okay because the man deserves it. Let's see. Oh yeah. Punk brings up, and I'm going to go back here for this. Punk says, I know that Dynamite sometimes does a blind bag. I thought about buying a Vampirella blind bag, but I didn't buy it. Yeah, so like off of that Battle Beast one with Skybound, everybody got in on the game. Dynamite's gotten in on the game. Archie Comics has gotten in on the game. Marvel, obviously. DC's done it slightly. And I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm right there with you, Punk. I go into my comic book shop from time to, or like every week, right? And I see, oh, there's still blind bags of that Ultimate Endgame. There's still blind bags of DCKO. And I go, I mean, it's kind of tempting to go, ooh, there could be, why not throw down $7 extra, or what is it, like $10, I think. Yeah, it's 10. They double it for a chance at a Peach Momoko headshot, right? But I'm with you. I know better. I fucking know better, and I don't. But I'll admit, like, I get the psychology that's at play there. Doesn't mean I have to like it. All right. With all that said, prayers up to Adam Hughes. I wish the Marvel editorial, just like collective unconscious, had that colorectal cancer instead, right? Like, I don't want the people to get it, but I need somebody over there to suffer for the fact that we went from, like, we'll get in, you know what? Let's get into it right now, because we are at a good point to jump into some comics. And I will start, because I'm talking about it right now. Let's go over to, not Absolute Batman. We'll get to you in a little later, Scarecrow. Venom 257. It is here. And this is issue 8 of 9 of this Death Spiral event. And when I tell you guys nothing has happened, even by the end of this issue, I mean nothing has happened, right? And it's bizarre to me. I've been talking about this with Andrew. Remember Hellgate? Remember the fact that Pete was split into two people, and to how much we were building on all of that? Like, if you guys don't remember, when this new run of Amazing Spider-Man launched, it was all about, like, Hellgate's here, new John Romita Jr. villain, punches Spider-Man in across the fucking universe. What are we doing here? And it was that big old event. It's weird to us on an editorial sense, on a narrative sense, to go, we're advertising sort of, let's say, the next 3 or 4 months of Spider-Man comics as a sort of pure narrative storyline. Oh, we're also going to do Age of Revelation and, put a pause on the main series for 2 weeks or like 2 months and do this bullshit. Oh, also, we're going to randomly throw in this Death Spiral event. There's been one mention of Hellgate, right? Ever since Pete came back to Earth. And remember, like, mind you guys, Andrew and I don't care. Like, we don't like Hellgate. We think this entire editorial thing is stupid. But if you've got your cards dealt, you got to play the cards you've got. You can't just ignore half your hand or half the river, right? And it's just very bizarre that there was so much emphasis on Pete is this chosen one. It's this cosmic adventure. And not only are we now, like, hanging out in Death Spiral, which has nothing to do with any of that, but we're immediately going from Death Spiral into Queen in Black. Did we just forget Hellgate? Like, it's just very, very weird to me on an editorial sense, right? So, with that being said, part 8 of 9 for Death Spiral. For those who are, need a quick reminder, this crossover involves a new serial killer by the name of Torment battling it out there with MJ, whose entire thing is that if he picks a murder victim, he kills in a spiral. So he'll start with your most out there relative, so like your 400th cousin twice removed or whatever, and slowly make his way to like your cousins, your mom, and then you. So this crossover has him putting MJ, Eddie, and Peter in his sights. Now, we don't know who Torment is. We don't really know what his motivations are for killing specifically in a spiral, or specifically Eddie, MJ, and Peter. We've been throwing around lots of speculations over the past few months over who it could be, because it could be anybody, right? One sec. I just have to... Oh, I got it. I got it like a text, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't important. And it was just spam. So, where was I? Yeah, so we don't... it could be anybody... Theories have been thrown out from everybody from fucking Lee Price to Ben Reilly to some super obscure characters that I'm not even going to get into because it's going to require me to go into the Marvel wiki and give you guys a history lesson. When you get to part 8 of a crossover like this, or just a story, right? This is essentially the climax. You're ramping up to your conclusion. Theoretically, this should even be your finale, where everything builds and then you hit that finale, that climax in the first like beginning half of the next issue, and then we resolve, epilogue, tease the future, right? We've gone 8 issues in. We don't know any of this. Like any of who Torment is so basically this issue picks up off of the fact that Torment and Carnage have now bonded, and Carnage leads Torment to both what's her name? Anna, what the hell? It's like Anna something, like Watson. Oh, it's just Anna Watson, I think. But Mary Jane's aunt and then Aunt May, who are currently, doing charity work at Aunt May's feast shelter. They go, all right, that's our next victims. We're getting ever closer to killing Peter, Eddie, and MJ. This entire issue it does see a really cool appearance from Flash, who shows up and he's like, I don't think so, brother. And you do see this cool little moment where Torment was like, wait, Carnage, you said I couldn't get hurt. Why does his touch like burn me? And I don't want to say, like, for the last few issues, we've praised like the Carnage Eddie dynamic, where Carnage is sort of unhinged and always like talking shit, but Eddie just not about it. But that's also because we know Eddie and we know these, the Carnage and his dynamic and their history. They try to do sort of the same thing here with Torment and Carnage, with Torment going like, you're lying to me. You're not helping me. It just doesn't hit the same, right? Like it's when somebody like Carnage, like, okay, even if you don't know Carnage, the individual, when Torment meets him and this thing starts spewing a bunch of like, I just want to kill, I want to kill, I want to kill, I want to kill, I want to do that, I want to do that. And you go like, no, you'll stay under my control. And he goes, okay. Like it pushes the limits of believability that you would think this creature that you've already seen, mind you, Torment, even if he doesn't understand what a symbiote, if he was fucking buried under Manhattan during the last 60 years of Marvel history, he has seen in front of his face Carnage take over Eddie Brock and like pilot him without Eddie even knowing, with Eddie being like knocked out on command. I don't know, like, it just does not track that he goes, okay, let's suit up, and I genuinely thought this would work, right? And surprise, it really doesn't, because we just get Aunt May and Anna start running away as soon as Torment shows up, and Anti-Venom starts fighting him. Carnage tells Torment, hey, we can still be bonded, but they're getting away. Or no, let me rephrase that. He goes, hey, they're getting away. You deal with Anti-Venom, because as a presumably human, like, it doesn't burn you the same way it would burn me. And because we're bonded, I can chase after them. And when I kill them, you'll feel all the sensation. It'll be just like you're doing it, right? So he goes, all right, you go do that. I'll fight Anti-Venom. Eventually, like, so Carnage runs off and he just starts going like, all right, I'm chasing him down, but I'm just going to start killing people. Fuck it. Like, I just want to kill. Like, I'm Carnage. I want to kill. And as soon, like, Carnage is right about to get Aunt May and Anna, Torment discovers, like, this trail of bodies, and he goes, like, oh, it's too much. It's too much. And he stops Carnage. And he basically tells him, like, when you kill somebody, that starts a spiral. And you've just made, like, 90 I can't deal with that. Like, he kind of has, like, a breakdown, right? And as a part of that breakdown, he goes, boom, and just blows Carnage apart, takes the Shocker's gauntlet and just sonics him in the face. This is the only real indication we have gotten anywhere so far in these 8 issues about Torment's spiral obsession. And it's like, okay, it's clear that there's some level of, like, mental compulsion, whether he's, like, mentally ill, whether he is under the control of, I don't know, Wanda, or pick somebody, fucking Mastermind, I guess. Whatever it is, we just don't know yet. And again, it's like, okay, I can get that he didn't like that, but where do I care? Like where am I investing here? Why do I care about Torment? And the answer is, you really don't. So the meat of this issue is Torment and Carnage's relationship falls apart. MJ and Peter show up and they're like, hey, don't kill our aunts. And as they start fighting, you know, he tells MJ, you go secure Flash and Aunt Anna and Aunt May. Because again, Sonics, as we see here, they hurt the hell out of symbiotes still. But humans, like, I can endure it a little better. I don't have that sort of, like, Pokemon level weakness that symbiotes do. So Pete stays behind. He fights Torment, and Torment uses... It's weird here, because, like, I think he's using the Carnage symbiote, like, what's left of it, but it's also not colored or drawn. So, like, look back here, right? Follow me here, guys. We go back to him turning into Carnage and him striking out. All of these tentacles and spikes and stuff, they're detailed, they're colored, they're red, they're black shading. We get into that last, bit where Torment goes, oh, Peter's here? I'm not going to kill you yet, but I'm going to, disable the shit out of you, because I'll kill you in a little bit. Spiral's not done yet. It's like red, just pure energy. I don't know if this means something. I don't know if this is just an art goof. I don't know if this is a stylistic choice, but it's weird, right? It's just like, what is that choice? But the big reveal with this issue, aside from Carnage and Torment have trouble in paradise, is with Pete getting shellacked like this, Carnage makes him the same offer that he made Eddie Brock. You're dying. I'm dying. There's only one way for us to survive this. And so we officially have Peter bonded to the Carnage symbiote, which, like, I don't know, guys. I don't have an oomph here. I don't even have that feeling of, like, hey, that's at least pretty damn cool, right? Like, remember when we were doing DCKO and we got to that last issue and Andrew and I were like, this is really dumb. This is a bad event. But seeing Superman, like, get a Jack Kirby energy crown and duke it out, like Gurren Lagann style, across all these panels and stuff with Darkseid, that's at least cool as shit to watch. This just feels lame. Like, it feels like with Peter here, we're just, like, what am I trying to say here? There's no innovation. It's just like, what haven't we done yet? Oh, he's bonded with Venom. Oh, he bonded with Venom, like, he's rebonded with Venom, like, twice over the last, like, 10 years. And now, oh, Peter bonds with Carnage. Next year, we're going to see him bond with Anti-Venom. Then we're going to see him bond with Passenger. And it's just like, if there are story reasons, I'm all for it. Andrew and I love, guys, we love in Venom more when the symbiote suit goes to Peter's apartment and is like, I need your help. I love you. Like, I miss you. Like, and they have this sort of tense agreement that they both like, but they both know is bad, right? Like, it makes sense because that's what the narrative was driving. And it wasn't played up as like, we're selling you all on this is our big moment. It was just sort of like all right, let's set the stage. This as a Spider fan and as somebody who really operates on the rule of cool, even, does nothing for me. So my big concern now becomes one issue left to resolve all of this, meaning we have to get to the bottom of like who Torment is. At the very least, we need some level of backstory, right? Like just some. Ew, why didn't anybody out there tell me that my camera was slightly jumping outside of the border? What the heck? Oh, I don't want to move the whole thing. One sec, guys. This is going to bug me if I do not fix it. So, move my... I don't want to move you. You can stay locked. We got to pull that out. Only time I pull out. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. That's gross. All right. Throw that back in there, and we are good. All right. Yeah, so one issue left. We've got to at least reveal who Torment is, give some level of insight into why he's hunting everybody, give a resolution to Eddie, MJ, and Peter and Carnage's story, and somehow link this all together with Queen in Black. And if they're still trying, make some mention of Hellgate, right? Like, and that whole plot line. So I'm not optimistic about this, right? Like, there's nothing about this event that's made me really that optimistic. We've gotten some cool art from Carlos Gomez and this guy, I think his name is, like, I actually like the art in this issue. I think, who is it? Javier Pina, right? Like, we've gotten some stuff, but overall, this event has just been nothing, especially because it just starts, right? Classic Marvel readers or just comic readers out there, like my Tehillums, who I see showed up, you know, my Punks, my Clone Geeks, if he's out there, my Timones, you guys will know that even the big overarching crossovers from back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, you would hint in like 5 issues beforehand. And then there's some guy watching him in the back, and you would slowly drop, like, then the next issue would have like a half page dedicated to that, and then maybe like a page, and then you get to like the issue before, and you go, you know, I'm Venom and it's time to kill Spider-Man, and you go, oh shit, that's our, now we're going into this, and that's our villain, and we just don't have any of that. It just feels like they go, here, enjoy, like, you should be like scared of Torment, and nothing's really there. Which Timon says, I hate this page with every fiber of my being. Which page? Are we talking about the little recap page here? Or what page was I on before? Oh yeah, Spider Carnage, right? I'm right there with you. I have no love for this. Like, I very bad decision in my opinion. All right. So that's really all I have to say about Death Spiral. I don't remember if the next issue comes out this like upcoming Wednesday or the next, but rest assured, we'll get Andrew's thoughts on all these developments and tackle the ending of it whenever he's back. We will have Andrew for the finale of Death Spiral for good or worse, right? Yes, that one. It's not even cool, right? Here, I'm going to show you guys. This is another thing too. I'm going to lose my mind. This is all coming into my head as I was about to say it. So let me just bring up the image, and then I can speak like a rational human being. So remember how I was ranting earlier about like, oh, Marvel just keeps like repeating things. Guess what, guys? This is a repeat too, because back in the 90s, Ben was bonded to Carnage. Carnage like latched onto Ben Reilly, who at the time was Spider-Man, because he's a clone of Peter Parker. And it was a desperate like, whoa, it's power. What do I do with it? So like, and this is cooler. I'm sorry, like this is a way cooler design right here with Ben's spectacular suit and those like McFarlane 90s cane veins over just like goofy face Spider-Man. Right? Like Peter, Ben, Peter, Ben, Bueller. Ben takes it just like that, right? So yeah, that is all we have for Death Spiral this week. Punk says, I've been enjoying seeing MJ appearing in the last couple issues of Black Cat. I have been enjoying that as well. The overall Black Cat series has been sort of like, but those last couple issues with those two, there's a debate to be had about like what dynamic MJ and Felicia should have. I'm genuinely a fan of the mature girlfriends, right? Like, you're Peter's ex, I'm Peter's current. We understand that this superhero shit is loopy. We understand our boundaries. Let's connect on sort of like, you know I can trust you because you've been through yada yada yada. So that was fun. That whole Black Cat MJ stuff was fun. And of course we got some amazing variants out of that from like Elizabeth Torque did a great one, and Adam Hughes, of course, right? And who did? Oh, Kara Andrews did like a 2 or 3 part MJ. Oh, I think it's 2 because it's like, but it's connecting. It's MJ on one and Black Cat on the other, and then like Venom in the background. It's pretty cool. The only symbiote, or Timon says the only symbiote that would be acceptable in some kind of way would be Toxin, and that would be crazy. Are you talking about acceptable to bond with Peter? I would say that one's good. And even though I was using it as like an example of how bullshit we're going to get in like the coming years, I'd be open to seeing like him being, because like Anti-Venom's not a sentient symbiote per se, nor is it really a symbiote per se. It's like the mutated white blood cells from his time as a symbiote in Flash Thompson, right? So like, I think there's a neat story that could be explored there with Pete getting that Anti-Venom suit and feeling like, wow, this is so much different than when I was bonded with like the black suit. And also it's weird because there's nobody talking to me, and there's this whole, you know, life is complicated kind of story you can tell there. And I think that would be aside from Toxin. Okay, so yeah, Timon says bonding with Peter. Yeah, aside from Toxin, I would say Anti-Venom, but again, that comes like an asterisk, right? What have I told you guys my theory on, what is it? I'm trying to remember now, because it's my theory about Toxin. Oh, I think I have told you guys my theory on Toxin, right? Which is right now Toxin, if you guys recall, and don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and try to find it all because we all know how that went last week. But if you guys recall, right now, the most recent appearance of Toxin was in the pages of All New Venom before the 250 issue, and in 250, he bonded with Rick Jones to help Flash and MJ fight against Scar and Dr. Octopus and their anti-symbiote stuff. In that fight, Toxin starts Rick is like, he starts acting unhinged. He starts, Rick's like, we're here to be a hero. And he's like, I'm here to punch your brains in. He's like, are you okay? Like, he's kind of, yeah, he's just sort of dumb and beast more. Yeah. Just very, very off, if you will. Right. Like he's very more violent, more, straight, like, yeah, no, let's just hurt them type of, saying things that the host isn't thinking. My theory is that if Marvel is smart, they'll have Rick and Toxin eventually split, which I think they may have. It's been a while since we saw either of them. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm thinking split, put Paul, who got the shit stabbed out of him by Torment. I think the symbiote Toxin would bond with him somehow and like bring him back from the dead. I don't know how, but then you have Paul, who's like, admittedly, we don't like Paul here. We all know that, right? Everybody, we don't like Paul. But Ewing I've called this out. Ewing over recent weeks or recent issues has been giving him development. Not making him a good character per se, but, showing him growing up, being a little more mature as a human being. So it's like, I don't like you per se, but we should always be, give people their due. When an artist makes something good, give them their credit. When somebody does a good thing or makes an improvement, you give them their credit. I think there could be something there where like Paul comes back and he thinks like, oh, I want to be a good guy. I want to help MJ and them. And he bonds with Toxin and he starts thinking like, no, or like they bond and then Toxin starts influencing his mind slightly to where it goes from like, I want to help MJ. Like I'm genuinely trying to help nowadays to like, I'm helping because I want to win MJ back, and like the symbiote makes him obsessive, and then Paul becomes like Toxin villain to them. That's my theory of how it could play out. It's not good. It's just like a card sort of dealt thing, right? Yeah. Nothing new from Marvel, as Timon says. Timon says maybe a new symbiote that has a clean mind that Peter teaches how to be a hero. I'd like that. Yeah, actually, I was going to say, like, you could do that to the anti-Venom symbiote because it doesn't have a personality, but I'd actually be open to seeing him take on a new one. I thought that's what we were going to get with the glitch suit, right? Like that golden one that I like from space that he gets from the Doug Ramsey Warlock species that I always like blank on their names. I thought we were going to get something like that out of that. No, we just got like a suit. It was just an aesthetic change. It was Punk says the Chris Anka variant for Black Cat 9 is so cool. I hung it on my wall. Oh yeah, we didn't even go over our polls this week. I know which cover you're talking about. That is a beautiful, beautiful Black Cat cover. Let's see. Let's go to that. Where did I put my issues today? All right, bit of a light week again over here in physical Mavland, but let's see, what did I pick up this week? Obviously, speaking of, had to get the Venom Godtail cover because Godtail is just, he's so good. Like, I love Godtail's like anime-y, exaggerated, very, very alive art, right? Then, even though it's not really a good book, X-Men United had a David Nakayama classic Emma variant, so you know we had to get in on that. Over on Inglorious X-Force, which I haven't really, none of us have been talking about, but this is actually like a surprisingly fun series. We had my girls, Guru Hiru, making this, just another classic, one of their, anime covers, but they did Boom Boom, who I fucking love as like a character. She's one of my obscure favorites, so I was like, of course I'm going to get in on that. And then this one was sort of out of pocket for me, and I don't think anybody's going to be able to guess the one I'm about to pull up, but I saw it on the shelf, and the color, the composition, I was just like, I have to get this Witchblade cover, right? Like, even though it's not foil, which I really wish it was, this thing this did what a cover did. It caught my attention on the shelf. So those are my 4 from this week. Not a lot, but you know I love my my good-looking ladies. That's what I go for. Where's Boom Boom and Emma, and then MJ over there. So, if only, very small week this week, but I still read. Don't worry, we still got more to talk about. Which, speaking of all of that, what do I want to touch on? I guess I'm going to touch on. You know what? I will save. No, I guess we'll just touch on it real quick because there's really not a lot to talk about with this book. We may talk about it more when Andrew comes back just to see if he has any thoughts. But we did get the final issue here of Ultimate Wolverine. I don't know why we got the final issue of Ultimate Wolverine. For those who don't remember, Ultimate Wolverine originally planned as a 12-issue miniseries. When we got to issue 12, it sort of ends perfectly with Logan having rescued Jean Grey from the control of the Maker's Council and sort of saying like, I'm going to help this uprising in Eurasia because Colossus is now dead, one of the Maker's Council. Everybody else can go fight on their own, right? Like Spider-Man, the Ultimates, the X-Men, like the Maker fight is not for me. Halfway through production, Marvel says, oh, can you guys add 4 more issues onto that book? Sure, why not? The result, though, is like, it's so limp. The entire 4 issues are just about Logan and Jean hunting down magic. And it's like, you realize that we're at this point in the entire universe narrative where we're going up against God, right? Like, we don't need a full detailing of how every single Maker Council person gets taken out, because there's this sort of general understanding that if you beat the boss, you're gonna save the day, right? So, and like even the series just ends with like they kill Ileana, and that's the last page right there. With here, I'll go back to the single. Phoenix and Logan just flying off into the sunset, not necessarily flying towards the Maker's final battle or anything. Just did we win? Yeah, victory feels good. So it's like, why why did we even need these issues? This is what we've talked about this. Whatever strength they had with the Ultimate Universe at the beginning, just not there anymore. The editorial decision to end it early, it just disastrous. Disastrous, all the way down. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Right? Yeah, that Witchblade cover was really, really great. Oh, Punk also got that one. Very, very cool. Yeah, right? Like, it's just, how can you not look at that thing? It's got better colors than the actual Phoenix over here, right? So that's Ultimate Wolverine. First 12 issues, like we talked about it. It's not divergent enough for me from our 616 Wolverine. It eventually resolved, like the end of the Ultimate Wolverine tale is pretty good. There was no reason to do any of this. Like, it's just, I'm sitting here like, what? Why? Like, literally, why any of this? So, with not a bang, but a whisper is what we go out with on Ultimate Wolverine. Is anybody surprised by that? No, I don't really think so. That's where the Ultimate Universe was headed. So, let's see. We've got about 30 minutes left because I unfortunately have to get out of here like at 7 o'clock my time, right? So, let's see. With about 40 minutes left, let's make the jump over from Marvel, and let's see, what do we want to read? Let's check in with, you know what? This will be a slight switch up, or slightly unexpected, but let's start. The first of the two books we'll cover out of DC. Let's start with Absolute fucking Batman, right? So, again, I'm really just giving this warning for Andrew. Andrew, in case you are watching, you have this on in the background while you're hanging out with Mary or whatever, tune out. Because or anybody who hasn't read this issue yet, I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week. You need to read this. You need the experience of reading this, right? So, that all being said, issue 19 of Absolute Batman, we are sort of setting up our next status, or not status quo, but our next fight, if you will. So we've gone through Bane. We recently went through Poison Ivy and got out of her Tower of Madness. Now we are facing down the ultimate, or not the ultimate. Andrew and I do this every time. Absolute Scarecrow. So we don't know a lot. This is one of those issues where you might have seen in the lead up, everybody going, oh, Absolute Scarecrow's coming. Absolute, he's here. And he is, but in true Snyder fashion, we don't get a lot of him. And he's very much an enigma at this point. Also, by the way, hold on. Do I have that graphic still existing? Oh shoot, I don't think I saved it after I showed it to a buddy. Let's go to, I just want to show you guys this hilarious fact really quick. Bum, 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 bum. What? Come on now. Absolute Batman 19, League of Comic Geeks, please. There we go. Oh, you just won't let me search it. Sure. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. I want to show you guys. All right. I think that'll do it. And then I got to open the image again. Where do we go? Where did we come from? Where did we go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe. What am I even singing about now? Pardon me. Okay. Over here in Firefox. Let's jump over there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a very thin graphic because I stole it from League of Comic Geeks. There are like 72 variants for this fucking issue of Absolute Batman. And they're announcing more, like, today and probably tomorrow now that the issue is out. But you've got like Clayman and Jock. And I can zoom in more for all of us, right? Like, you got Jock, you've got Clay Man over here doing a literal Death Note homage, which is pretty fucking cool. But then you have John Giang, you have a design variant from Dracoda, you've got everybody and their mother giving a take on Absolute Scarecrow, you got Mark Brooks up in here, you got Mark Spears, you got just all of, like, look at all these covers. Dan Panosian's got one. Randomly, here's a fucking Poison Ivy cover, even though she's already been defeated. We have the that one, obviously you guys probably saw it if you saw the thumbnail for tonight. But this Tyler Kirkham series down here of Ultimate Scarecrow, just like smoking ethereal, phantasmal cigarettes, it's my favorite of them. But 72 plus with more getting announced every day. It's a lot. It's kind of ridiculous, but hey, if it was any other series than Absolute Batman, I would probably have an issue with it. But Absolute Batman is the series right now that deserves this. So, going back over to Absolute Batman, our introduction to Absolute Scarecrow, at least what he seems like right now, is sort of a almost like a mythical, like an evil like spirit almost, right? So essentially his introduction here is he walks up to these two guys who are farming, and they go, "Oh, you look really weird here." And he goes, "Yeah, I look a little weird. You know what's weirder is the fact that you have been fucking his wife at like 4 years." And then out of nowhere, like, images get sent to the guy's phone, and the guy like loses his mind and starts beating the shit out of his friend and kills him. And then he starts like, "Oh my God, like, what did I do? What did I do? I didn't mean to kill you." And then through some machinations, a plane hits a flock of crows, or a murder of crows, that causes its rotor and engine to fuck up, and it crashes into the like remaining guy. And Scarecrow kind of just walks off into the cornfields, which, this is terrifying. Like, I don't know how Dragotta and Snyder do it, but every villain is somehow more terrifying than the last one. Like, for example, we saw Absolute Joker, who was literally just like a giant demon. He is a demon. He is confirmed, right? Like King Von. But that's terrifying. So imagine seeing that hulking thing. Then you see Ultimate, like, Scarecrow, who may not be the most physically intimidating like Joker, but what he can do, just like, he doesn't even raise his hand, right? Like, we go back here, I don't even know if he does take a drag off of his cigarette. And that's about like the biggest action he does. And like, he just appears out of the cornfield. I don't know. I know cornfields are very much like an American thing. I know you have them in other countries, but they're very like part of the cultural aesthetic of America here. If any of you guys have ever spent time, like, or if you've never spent time near any of these cornfields, like, this is genuinely terrifying because you don't know anything around. You can barely see the sun above your head in a lot of these fields. So for just a guy to pop out and like know all your deepest, darkest secrets, it's pretty, that's what I mean. Like, he's like a spirit, right? Like a demon or a devil. Timon says the new 72. Yeah, essentially with all those covers, right? I wonder what the final total is going to be on those covers. And I already know that the next issue is going to rival it for reasons we'll get into as we go through this issue. So, with the introduction of Absolute Scarecrow, we rejoin Bruce, and off of the fight with Poison Ivy, off of the fight with Bane, Alfred is, we're viewing him through the eyes of Alfred, and Alfred's basically going like, the man's he's a man possessed. He's on a mission. He just builds and starts making new contraptions. And we get this is such a great Batman moment, because here's Batman's new Batmobile, guys. And this is probably some thought we've all had, especially my guys out there who, as little kids, played with like RC cars. What happens if the Batman hits something or it flips over? Like, what do you do? Easy disable to the Batmobile. So Bruce has made this like bat buggy. He doesn't have a name for it, but it's basically a pod. So like a, what do you call it? Like a gyroscopic stable pod on four, like, really, four wheels on a very, what do you call it, like flexible frame. So if anybody used to have those RC cars where like the gimmick was you could go off a ramp, you could hit anything, and it would just, if it got on the other side, it was just a different car. Like you could still keep driving. That's basically what Bruce does here, right? And we see him like run into a blockade of GCPD, and he flips over, and he just spins the gyro around, and his front is now his back, and he goes, "All right, let's drive." And I'm like, it's not a big bulldozer like the last Absolute Batmobile, and it's not even like the Tumbler or even like the '89 Batmobile, but this thing rules. Like it's just really, really, really damn cool. There's also this great little bit. So if you guys remember a couple issues ago when Batman was going up against Bane, we saw him tag the Red Hood Gang for help, who are just like a bunch of disillusioned Gotham youth led by the Absolute Harley Quinn. We see that their partnership continues from that issue. And I really, really like this take on everything because I think in like Prime DC or like the 616, Andrew and I talk about this all the time, where we can suspend our disbelief for like the rule of cool or a narrative or just like the story. Grant Morrison's got one of my favorite quotes about this, right? Which is, when a kid reads a story, a Batman story, he's in awe, he's in wonder, he's totally, he's right there, he's locked in, he's invested, he believes, he's ready to like believe and listen to your premises and stuff. Adults, they get caught up on who inflates the Batmobile's tires. Nobody does. It's a fucking like comic book story, right? Like who cares? And I think that Andrew and I are big advocates of that in like the Prime universes, because the second you start over explaining things in any sense, like superpowers or backstories or yada yada yada, it just becomes a convoluted mess. And it, especially in something like in a more fantastical setting like comic books, getting too much into those weeds can just like throw up more flags. So I guess the best way to explain this is to bring up an example I do all the time, but there's this book from DC called like The Anatomy of Superheroes. And it's a nice, like, coffee table style book where I forget who the artist and the writer was, but they were assigned by DC to sort of make like an almanac of how would like a visual, what do you call it? Almanac probably works. Encyclopedia, like an illustrated encyclopedia of how all these superpower gadgets and their powers and yada, yada, yada works. Right. And one of the things they get into is like, so let's think about Superman, everyone. Think of a plane crashing. Think of that scene in Superman Returns, right? The plane crash in the stadium. When Clark catches it, like when we think of like Superman's going to save the day and catch the plane, like what does he do? He just grabs it, right? Like he just goes up against it, pushes, stops, or maybe he does like the struggle thing like we saw in James Gunn 2025 Superman in the very beginning, like when or I guess it's not the beginning, but like when the kaiju, he like stops its tail and then it like barely presses him up against the office building and it like cracks its window. And we just accept that. In reality, what would happen if something as strong and immovable as Superman at any speed, whether he's going 0 miles per hour or he's meeting the speed head on of that plane, if Superman if he goes and counter forces something or he grabs like a plane, that's going to give counter force and counter pressure, and you're going to crumple the plane and people are going to die. And it doesn't work in real life. So in that book, they go about explaining the reason that doesn't happen is because Superman has an anti-physics field around, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here? How is an anti-physics field or whatever that is only generated within like 3 inches of him and only applies to him? What is it? That doesn't even sound like a Kryptonian power. It just sounds like you're doing the little kid thing, right? Where you're like, oh, I got you. No, I've got the anti-force field that negates the blah, 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 blah. And it just gets stupid. And you just go like, what are we doing here? He caught the plane. We can accept that. It's fine. He's Superman. Now, in terms of the Absolute universe, obviously things are a little more grounded. Gritty probably too, obviously being based on like Darkseid and Omega energy and everything. And so I think a little more detail on how things are done is not only works, but it's like a good spice to add to any of these issues. So think about when we saw Diana, right? Like in Absolute Wonder Woman, when she does all of her magics, we see her like she pours out a potion, she tells everybody to leave the room, she like thinks to herself like, all right, last time I did this, I don't know if I can, like it's a hard spell. She says the spell out loud, she draws the circle, she, sacrifices her arm and pours like the ointment, like she does a whole thing, which if we were looking at regular Diana, we could just go like, yeah, she does magic, whatever. But because of the setting and the premise and everything, that really helps sell where we are. And it's a good, like I said, it's a good spice. We maybe didn't necessarily need to see it, but now that we saw it, it's like, ooh, that's so good. We get one of those here, right? I mean, it is like plot armor, but that's what we should just be like. We should just go like, it's plot armor. He's Superman. Who gives a fuck? One of my favorite reaction images from my entire time on the internet is that gnome where he's like, it's magic. Or I think it's from the Lord of the Rings or like a I forget. It's something from the 80s, Sword and Sorcery. Oh, I think it's like the Ralph Bakshi Hobbit movie. But it's just like the like magician dude going like, he's like shooting up rainbows. He's like, it's magic. I ain't got to explain shit. That's kind of how I think a lot of this stuff should be treated, unless it's sort of, you just can't get past it. You know what I mean? And we'll sort of see an explanation. We'll see an example of that in just a second when we get to our next DC book. I just realized that. But where this all comes into play with Absolute Batman is we see here that the Red Hood gang acts as almost like they're basically his pit stop crew. So when the Batmobile gets damaged or he needs a quick escape, there's a bunch of like vans and they all meet up with him and they pop out, they disassemble the Batmobile and they throw him a disguise. So they disassemble the Batmobile, they put it into like these vans, they all drive off, nobody knows where it is. The cops who are pursuing him they're driving by and they see, oh, there's a homeless guy. And the homeless guy goes, Batman went that way. And it's Bruce. And I'm like, that's that good spice. Like that's a spice. Like I really like that idea of like mobile phantom pit crews that are helping Batman like be stealthy and avoid all of this stuff. That's a cool little detail. But I wouldn't necessarily buy it or want that for Primer for a myriad of reasons, including like there's Justice Leagues and like you've got like Alfred Butler and the proper Batcave and resources. Like you don't need that teen army. It doesn't work. But yes, I just wanted to give a shout out. I thought that was really cool. From there, we see that if you guys remember a couple issues back, Batman went and who did he fight? I think it was Ivy. I don't remember. But he got like a tooth, right? Like he got this like talisman thing and he gave it to Waylon because, oh no, it was from when he goes and teams up with Absolute Wonder Woman and they go to like the other like mythical realm and they get like the arrow that can turn you into a beast, right? Like that's the mythological figure, the centaur dude, that's his weapon. And one of them hits like Diana and she like takes it out and she goes like, this is what you need. Cause he calls her and he's like, I know you're like Greek mythology. Do you have any experience with like man beasts? Because one of my best friends is a crocodile and I need your help. So we see that it's actually working. Like beyond all odds, Waylon is slowly transforming back from the really brutal, awesome, crocodile monster we saw up against Bane to a more human killer, like the killer croc we sort of know, right? Like just bad skin condition, if you will. Suicide Squad style. But he basically goes to Bruce and he's like, Bruce, I'm fine. And Bruce is like overwhelmed. He's like, thank God. And he goes, all right, what are we going to do? Like, what's the plan? And he's like, there is no plan. Like, right now we're in this period and it's a narrative that's been playing over the last couple issues of Bats being like, I never meant for Batman to be like the story. He was just a tool. He was meant to expose all this corruption, but now I'm a hero. Now people look to me for a plan. It's like, that's not what I wanted from this. So he's like a little frustrated about that. They have a little rift and that is where we leave them. From there, we get the modern take on the bat signal where Harley programs basically a like a telegram, right? Like a messaging app where if somebody needs Batman's help, they can message him or they can call, and it'll send like coordinates and the call and everything to his cowl. And it's Harley goes like, it's like your bat signal. First message he gets, Mr. Gordon. Remember, he's not commissioner here. He's just Mr. Gordon. Gordon summons Batman. Remember, he knows Bruce is Batman, and basically goes, I have something I need to tell you. You need to know this. However, as they're talking in the middle of this conversation, Gordon starts going, never mind. Like, I don't know what I was talking about. Forget this. Burn all these files. Don't even think about what I'm about to tell you. And Batman is like, what the hell are you talking about? But, you know, Gordon starts burning these files, and he starts just like freaking out, going, no. Like, don't listen to me. Don't look. And, you know, Batman's like, hey, like, I can get you help. Like, work with me here. What's going on? Batman gets a glimpse of the files, and he sees that he's basically learned that what we learned for a couple issues ago, where Jack Grimm, the Absolute Joker, is basically using Gotham as like his testing ground to build super soldiers or experiments or things. And he kind of learns, we don't see the whole picture because it's getting burned up by Gordon, but that zoo, like the mass shooting at the zoo, that kind of birthed the Batman and killed his dad, it was part of something called Project Batman, and it was like meant to create them, probably create a whole bunch of them out of all the kids traumatized by that mass shooting, right? But we don't know what it is, because not only is it like halfway burned, but before Gordon can say fucking anything, Batman goes like, what are you talking about? Talk to me. Gordon jumps. Gordon goes, I'm sorry, but I can't do this. And he jumps. But of course, Bats reaches out with his awesome bat claws and latches on and says, nope, like, I won't let you do it. When I tell you guys, this is one of the examples of the things I always praise Snyder for, where you turn the page and you get that like reason to keep, like, holy shit, like, I didn't expect that. I want to keep reading. Here, that twist is that he reaches out for Gordon, gets him right in time, pulls him up. He caught his jacket. So Gordon is fucking dead. Like, he committed suicide. He is dead. Batman failed to save him, and now everybody in Gotham, as we see, like, we get this news report here from the mayor, like, everybody now thinks Batman killed Commissioner Gordon. And as you saw when I was flipping through it really quick, upon, you know, like, realizing what's happened, he looks up, and across the way, like in a fucking high rise, all the way far away in Gotham, he sees fucking Absolute Scarecrow light up a cigarette and like, hi, Bats, which again, absolutely terrible. Like, that's a fucking scary character introduction. That's really good, especially with Dragota's art and his use of shadow there. So from there, we then get the talk of the town with this issue, right? Which is the introduction of Absolute Slade Wilson, Absolute Deathstroke, who appears to be a combat vet who is very disfigured to the point where every day he has to basically like put together his face, right? Like, here's my nose, here's my ear, here's my fucking lips and my beard. And it's pretty intense looking. However, he's not the focus here, because we finally get our Absolute Robins. And instead of just one Robin, we've seen Dick Grayson before making an appearance in previous issues, and he's like, man, I hate the Batman. He's so fucking like violent. He's just like hurting too many people. He's an EMT. His like nights are getting overloaded by Batman. Instead of one, we get 5 Robins with Joker and Deathstroke assembling, you know, 4 troubled youths from one of the Joker's mini orphanages and putting them under the tutelage of Dick, who thinks he's, you know, really trying to help by stopping this Batman menace. And so this is one of those things I love that I talk about all the time, where like, when you do like a new take or a streamlined version of a story that's been told before, or you're using pieces that have been established already, you can play with them in fun ways like this. And what Snyder did here is, instead of that one Robin, we get 5. And instead of the ones you would normally expect, like if you went, give me the 5 most important Robins: Dick, Jason, Tim, Damian, that's probably about it, right? If you know ball, you'll say Stephanie Brown, but most people won't. Nobody will, probably somebody will mention Cassandra Cain, mistaking her for like, yeah, like a direct Robin, but even though she's Batgirl. Snyder takes sort of a mashup of all the eras of like Batman allies. So we've got Duke from like the New 52 Dark Knight's Metal era. We've got Jason, we've got Tim, we've got Dick, and we have fucking Stephanie Brown, which I don't think we've talked a lot about her on this show because she's not really been around lately, but I love Stephanie. Like, I loved her story when I was growing up. I've loved her as a character pretty much ever since I started reading about her when I was like 13, 12, whatever it was. So to see her get proper due makes me really, really happy, because she's been kind of thrown under the bus as sort of like an afterthought by DC in recent years, especially with them bringing back like Barbara into the Batgirl role and re-emphasizing Cassandra. So just love the fact that we get to see some Stephanie. And that is where the issue ends, with Deathstroke going, here is your new squad of Robins. We are going to protect you, Gotham, from the Bat Menace. All right, where is this? I'm trying to pull up my example here. And while we don't see them in this issue, which is unfortunate, and it really bummed me out, because I saw all this stuff coming out, like all this concept art and whatnot coming out before I read the issue, because that's just how my day went yesterday. But they're not just going to be in these like 5 sort of speed racer outfits, if you will, right? Like the pit crew outfits. As revealed by Dragotta, we're getting like mecha Cyber, or what the fuck was the series? My buddy mentioned it earlier. Hold on, I just got to go back and remember the name. That's right. Like Stephanie and Duke and Tim are like Mospitas from that anime, if you guys remember that one. Dick and Jason are just like giant combat suits, right? They're basically Patlabers or Patlabers, however you want to pronounce it. Each of them with a specialized role. It's really fucking cool, right? I'm really excited, especially for, Tim, Dick, or for Tim, Stephanie, and Duke down there, because they are, they're Mos Betas, so they're like RC, right? Where they're like motorcycle armor, pop up, oh, I'm a full armored, fighting ready, like unit. So I'm stoked to see it. As you can see from this concept art, that's our giant Batman there, right? Like that's our fuck huge wall of meat Batman up against Dick's mech with a bunch of like, rescue and medical supplies on it. I'm pretty excited to see this all. I'm not going to lie, but this is what I was sort of talking about last issue or earlier with the new 72 there from Timon, which is, we got a lot of covers for Absolute Scarecrow. And I know we had a lot of covers for Absolute Joker, even more for Absolute Poison Ivy. We're going to get, I am like so positive we're just going to get so many. There's already all of these covers announced for that next issue with the Robins, right? We're looking at like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 4, 7, about 33, like 36 covers already in it, like including cover A. Or that, I think cover A makes it 37. 37 covers already for this Ultimate Robin debut. And the reason I know this is going to be more than even Scarecrow is because you've got individual pilots, right? Like, look at right here. We've already got like a Dick single cover, a Jason single cover. I should zoom in a little bit for these. Yeah, you've got your Dick, you've got your Jason, you've got your Tim, your Stephanie, your Duke. And it's like, oh, you can do, like let's say you hire fucking Art Germ, right? And you're like, hey, Art Germ, we're going to hire you to do one of our Robins. Might as well get you to do the other 4 because it's going to sell and people are going to think this shit is tight. So we have few right now, but I just know we're going to get a bunch as we go on. And I'm excited. I'm locked in, guys. I really, like, I'm not even going to, I just want all the Stephanie ones. I want this glow in the dark, Mark Brooks one, which is currently on sale that I still need to order as soon as I'm off the show. I want this Godtail variant. I want this one of Stephanie, like, getting ready to dry. Like, she's in her mech. She's the focus. That's my shit. And then, of course, where is she? Where is the one that, like, really has my attention is Ricky Yagawa's, which you guys, he's done a lot of the, he Marvel covers lately. He did, like, Emma Frost. He did Psylocke. His style is, like, so, sometimes he locks in and he's amazing. Other times he's really loose and weird. But this time he locked in, and I'm super excited. But then again, I'm also super biased. But that's Absolute Batman for this week. Again, I don't think I can say any issue of the series yet is like a disappointment or bad or like I didn't like it. This thing, I want every single nice prestige release of this. I want the compact, I want the omnibus, I want the absolute version, like whatever. This is a generational run that's happening, and I know I say that every time, but like we will be referencing Absolute Batman and looking back at it and like heralding it as an example of good comics for years to come. Because this thing, again, like with the other Trinity books, with surprisingly Jason Aaron's Superman and Kelly Thompson's Wonder Woman, they're putting DC on top over Marvel, which is, again, just bonkers. We don't have to super get into it because I'll just be repeating myself, but just genuinely bonkers. All right. I spent a little more time on Absolute Batman than I thought I would because I really needed a fanboy about Stephanie Brown. But before we get out of here, of course, we have to talk about arguably what I would say, even with Absolute Batman here, this might be my favorite issue of the week, what we're about to look at right here. Because, and I can't believe I'm saying, it's Dan Slott over here in Superman Unlimited. Again, continuing to kill it with this title. Andrew and I have talked about it before. Sometimes there are just like writers who can lock in with an assignment and lock in with a character and know what they're doing. For all Slott crapped and like shat himself with Spider-Man, especially near the end there, he has absolutely nailed it with this series, because Superman Unlimited exists as this sort of anthology almost, right? Where like each issue you can pick it up and read it and go like, oh, that was a fun self-contained story, but things keep building, right? Like you'll get a reference or two to like an event that happened in the past couple issues, but it's not like focused. Like it's very new reader friendly without having to go, oh, it's a new number one like Marvel is doing over there. But with that, the cover, we got what we see on the cover. What's on the tin is what happens here in Superman Unlimited. If you guys remember off of the last issue, our current Jon Kent, the one who is aged up, who has his father's electric powers and whatnot, he has taken on a new identity as a superhero named Tomorrow Man, because he's trying to sort of, keep himself on the DL while his dad is out and, strike out on his own a little bit. In the midst of becoming Tomorrow Man, he hits like a time rift. And in that time rift, screaming out for help, is Jon Kent at the period, like his younger self, at the period where Mr. Oz, Jor-El, the revived Jor-El by Dr. Manhattan as part of the whole New 52 stuff, he is like he's imprisoning John in like a volcano to toughen him up, to make him a warrior against Doc Manhattan, which we all know how that turns out. It ruins John like mentally as a kid, but then also kind of destroys his character because it cuts out so much of his childhood, right? I know Tehillim was in the chat earlier, and I know he knows what I'm talking about. He's #1 Super Sons fan is Tehillim, and I know having that sort of cut off at the neck was unfortunate, sudden, and just like not what we were wanting from our comic books, right? So, yeah, and if you remember a couple issues back, I don't remember what book it's in, but recently Superman, I think it might have even been like the Summer of Superman special or one of the first Superman Unlimited issues, Clark has a discussion with John where he's like, if I'm ever actually really gone, I want you to like pick up my like the mantle, like you're Superman, because like, and his whole thing is like, I've seen you grow into such a man, like a good hero, a good man. Like, I trust you, my son. Truly the only regret I have in life is the fact that your mother and I didn't get to see you grow up. Like, that's what he tells Jon. So, in this issue, with Jon having rescued his younger self, younger Jon Kent is back. We get his introduction. They sort of pop out in Smallville. Younger Jon Kent has sort of a panic attack, a freak out, because he just doesn't know what's going on. But Jon, in a really good way, is going like, or Tomorrow Man in a good way is going, you know, he's trying to keep himself hidden, not making any paradoxes. And instead of like yelling at Jon and being like, no, you're like, do it. What are you doing? He's trying to like walk him through it. In this instance, Jon is freaking out. He's like, I got to get out of here. And he backs into the Smallville water tower. And as it starts tipping over, Tomorrow Man says like, I can't push it up. Like, it's going to break everything. You need to help me, like, you're Superboy. You can do this. And instinct takes over. He hits it with an ice breath. And Jon kind of goes like, oh, okay. Like, I'm back. Like, I'm feeling myself. We tune into, or like, you know, hop, skip, and a jump over to Metropolis, where Batman and Damian have checked, they're checking in with Lois, where, you know, if you guys remember, end of DCKO, Superman is sort of Fantastic Fouring it. He's outside of our dimension. He's going off doing cosmic creation stuff. There's a stopping in to say, like, have you seen him? Any news? No? Okay. You know, he's my best friend. You're his wife. We're here for each other. Like, we know he's going to come back. He's Superman. But we're here for each other, right? We see there's a good mention here, and this is what I was talking about, where we would see an example of like keeping continuity and like being really smart, or like what happens when you make a decision, then you have to address it all. And sometimes it can work, sometimes it can't. Here, this actually works because we have Damian Robin, which if you guys have been reading the Batman series along with me and Andrew, you know, Matt Fraction, Jorge Jimenez, you'll know that the current Robin is Tim. But he did go in like the last issue and tell Bruce, like, I'm taking like a break. Like, I need to go find out like who Tim is over being a Robin. Like, I think I came back too soon. So we would want, in a Super Son story like this, a Jon Kent related story, we would want Damian to be there. But if he just showed up, it would be like, how do you explain that? Luckily, they have that out. So Batman can go, you know, Tim is on a break. So Damian wanted to come, and I think he kind of missed Crypto a lot. They got like, that's a way of using the cards you're dealt and like what's available to you. Oftentimes, you know, imagine if we didn't have that Tim retiring thing. Well, now what do? We have Batman going, Tim's on assignment. Tim is on a date. Tim's doing this. And then you go, okay, well, shit. I'm writing, you know, whatever Robin book with Tim. He's not doing that. Now I've got to like fit that in, and it just leads to the convoluted nature of Western comics. But of course, with that, so here's where I'm already excited with this issue, that it's bringing back Jon, right? Like, oh, he is here. We're doing this. This is where it elevates to me from like good issue to my issue of the week, is Tomorrow Man brings Jon back. As soon as they get there, you know, Lois embraces him, says, oh my God, I missed you. I know you're my son. Batman, in keeping with continuity with that Matt Fraction series, he like immediately goes like, who are you? Like, and he hits his like cowl to like analyze him, which is a nod to how tech and gadget heavy Fraction has been over in his run, right? So I really like that attention to detail. But then there's this little bit, which you guys might see right here, where Crypto starts barking and Damian is in awe. He's in shock. Are you really back? Is that you, Jon? And from there, Batman, you know, they leave. Batman says, I'll give you guys some time together. Whenever you're ready, like, we'll be in Gotham, hit us up. As they're leaving, Damian gives this glare to Jon as Crypto continues sniffing and like barking at him. And Damian goes, all right, like something, like in that last panel, he's going, all right, something is up. Flash forward, we see, you know, Jon talking to Lois about sticking around and helping, you know, young Jon readjust. Our last page, we cut to the Batcave, where Batman goes, so Damian, what are you, like, he walks in on Damian making something, and he goes, what are you doing? And he goes, I'm making kryptonite batarangs for Superboy, or for this Superboy, just in case. And he goes, I don't trust him. And his dad turns around and goes, good boy. And I'm just like, oh, that's so good, right? Like, the tense trust and relationship between the Bats family and the Superman family, and how they're oh, like it's so, that's a good Batman right here, right? Like good boy for taking that precautionary measure, even though somebody might call you paranoid, but the dog's freaking out, right? How many horror movies have we seen? So that this right here pushes it over to like, this is an issue of the week for me. But I would be doing a disservice if I didn't mention, and I really overran it really fast here. This is probably the other element that really puts it over the edge for me, where if in Metropolis, we discover that, if you guys remember at the beginning of Superman Unlimited, there was the first issue was like, a meteorite of kryptonite is heading at Earth. What's going to happen? Superman stops it. It breaks up. There's a bunch of new kryptonite all over the world, but a bunch in this like South American country who now are using it to like build things and create and sell, and has become like a world power off of kryptonite. We learn that they're also using it, like they're distilling it and selling it out to be used in testing on people, on animals. In that note, we see here in a lab in Metropolis, they inject a monkey with the kryptonite solution and it breaks out. It's the only one they do, and this monkey breaks out. And they're going, holy shit, like we only have a couple hours until the sun rises, 10 hours till sunrise. Once the sun rises, we're going to have a Krypton monkey on our hands. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do. So I'm sitting here flipping through this really fast, and I'm going like, oh man, like that seems right? For Slott and Superman Unlimited, the idea of like the big bad being a kryptonite monkey, that worked. Like that can make sense to me. However, as you know, maybe more of my discerning and like, I feel so dumb that I didn't pick up on this, considering like my reaction, what I'm about to tell you guys. But we cut at, you know, with the whole Superboy stuff, we cut the fucking Bippo, right? Like, you know, Superman's pal, he runs the bar, he's the boxer, we got your back, Soups. And he's taking out the trash at his food truck, and he fucking sees the monkey. And it was at this moment that I went, no way. No fucking, are we really doing? No way. Sure enough. He shares a drink with the monkey, and he, you know, he goes, I'm Bippo. And the monkey, using like it's like talk box, goes like, I am Beppo. And we get this dumb argument where he's like, no, Bippo, Beppo, Bippo, or Bibbo, Beppo. And they're just like arguing back and forth. We're getting fucking Beppo the super monkey guy. Like, this is that Silver Age stuff where it's like, I love when people don't ignore this. When you acknowledge like the Silver Age weirdness and you bring it in. Superboy style. Come on, get Silver Age with me, right? We even see right down there the tease for the next issue. Oh shit, damn it, Batman. We gotta pull you over to the side. We gotta go here. Bum, 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 bum. Look at that. Next time, Beppo. We're getting Beppo the super monkey. And I'm just, Slott, you got me. You got me on the hook with, yeah, just a great issue, great turn of events, a great like introduction interaction between Beppo and Bippo. That's what I was saying. Like Slott, I think he just, like, Superman's a lock for him. Like, he knows what he's doing here in a way that when I see his name, like when I see an issue of Unlimited like every month, I go, all right, I'm excited, instead of, oh my God, why is Slott writing again? Which is funny because they just rehired Slott over at Marvel. He will be having a new series coming out, which, if you guys forgot, is the revisit to the One More Day era that Marvel is doing, because they really, really are like, they're trying to get that Brand New Day movie synergy out there, but also they just cannot get out of their own asses with thinking that everybody loved Brand New Day and One More Day and Spider-Man selling his marriage to the literal devil. Listen to that sentence and sit in awe with the fact that anybody approved that. That's literally on the equivalent of Superman making a deal with the devil. No, I'm sorry. We were talking about suspension of disbelief earlier. This is pushing it too far. But guys, with the return of Jon Kent, with the reintroduction of Beppo, with Slott's understanding of Batman, I think that's a great place to call it for tonight. Yeah, I got to get out of here. I have something, I got to go run some errands, but let's see. What have we got before we get out of here? As always, thank you to each and every one of you who showed up and hung out with me tonight. From Tehillim to Punk to Masta to Timon. I know we also had, who do we have? Did I say Punk? I said Punk. Masta, Corey, that's who I was looking for. I know we had Corey for a little bit. Guys, as I said earlier at the top of the show, whether you are watching live and commenting, or watching live and lurking, catching us in the VOD, or even just watching us for 3 seconds after we came across your YouTube algorithm, we appreciate you, we see you, and we're immensely thankful because we couldn't be doing this without your support. All right. That spiel all out. I don't know why I said spiel. It's genuine from me. I just want to make sure you guys all know it every single week. What do I want to promote while we're getting out of here? I think we'll just go back through, greatest hits over here. So, as we were going over in the beginning of the show, Foil Variant has a Twitter now and an Instagram. Foil Variant Show on both of them, I believe. No, Foil Variant Show over on Twitter, Foil Variant over on Instagram. Follow us there. We'll be posting lots of stuff, interaction, cool panels, cool covers, keeping you appraised of things going on, all that kind of fun stuff. Intellectually honest comic book news from me and Andrew on the daily, as often as we think to share it with you guys. Go to the Foil Variant Twitter account, sign up to win your copy of Ripazine number 5, completely sold out. The introduction, the first appearance of Andrew's brand new character, Arc Stream, right? Yes, I don't know. I'm going to mix up those names forever. Yes, speaking of Arc Stream, get on over there to the Ripaverse. Go pre-order this beautiful book that is coming out. Let's see. Can I pull up the product page really quick just to brag? And don't forget, guys, I'm going to take my victory lap here. As always, we've got our 4 covers for a Ripa release. Cover A, your retro cover, your foil cover, and your cover D. This time around, they almost didn't do a retro cover, right? That beautiful cover B with Andrew and his nemesis, if you will. Read more to find out what's going on there. They almost just left it blank. And I went to Andrew and I went, oh, come on, man. We got to hit me with that retro. Like, we need that retro. Those are like the best covers you guys put out. He went, all right, let me see what my artist can do. They whipped this up and they said, oh, let's see what the fans think. It's like the most popular cover. So yes, I'm taking my Arcstream victory lap. I get that sort of little credit. That's trivia for you guys. Someday in 20 years when, Arcstream's origin comes up in a bar trivia, you're going to know who to give proper credit. No, I'm kidding. So, Foil Variant Show on Twitter, Foil Variant on Instagram. Go sign up for the giveaway. Go pre-order Arcstream number 1 or Arcstream False Start number 1. Come back here next week, same bat time, same bat channel for another episode of Foil Variant. Andrew should be back. If he's not in streaming form, you'll at least have my beautiful ugly mug to look at next week. Talk some more comic books. Let's see. I think that's it. Oh, just because I know he's already out of here, but because I'm just going to answer this real quick because I've gotten a lot of questions about it. Punk asks, I wanted to ask if you're planning to bring back the GMU stream soon, Spencer. The answer is yes. It will be back either tomorrow, which don't hold me to that. That's if I can get a lot of things, like a lot of preparation work and everything off my plate. If not tomorrow, I will be back next week with a brand new schedule. You'll be seeing a lot more of me. We will be playing video games. We'll be having, Good Mav Ugly. It's a whole thing. Check it out when it comes up. But until then, that's all I've got for you guys. Death Spiral is kind of boring. Absolute Batman is amazing. And let's see what happens with Damien and John. But with that, to Timon, to Corey, to everybody else, I'm out of here. I love y'all. I'll see you very soon. And go read some good comics this weekend. I'll see you guys soon.
Never before have we had greater face a complex, rapidly changing world. Think of it a moment.
It is a world in which supersonic speeds are commonplace. It is a world that has seen the coming of the atomic bomb. It has seen the rise of the total state, the dictator, and the mass man. It is a world of new sensations, new excitements, new distractions.
So much to be learned by so many in so little time.
And I suppose you're here with no agenda, as per usual?
On the contrary, I'm here for comics. What kind of man are you anyway? I'm talking comics and you bring up chicks and romance?